We're trying to bounce back from a miserable 6-8 last week in the money line and 2 for 5 in best bets. If you are new to Brandon's World, what I do every Thursday during the NFL season, I go through each and every game on the calendar. This week there are 14 games. I will give you my money line pick that is no spread, that is straight up the pick of the game. At this point, going into week 6, we are 50 and 28 in that department. Then what I will do is I will pick 5 games. I will bet the spread on those. All of our odds are presented by FanDuel. And we went 2 for 5 last week. We ended up hitting the Indianapolis Colts against the Raiders. We hit the Panthers against the Dolphins. Miss Philly against Denver. Chargers against Washington. And Kansas City Monday night against Jacksonville. But we are 15 for 25, 60% on the year. I'll take it in the best bets department. Now, on Tuesday, as I finished my recap for week 5, I said, I think that week 5 was a big upset week. I think that it's not going to happen again. I think favorites are going to come out. I think favorites are going to be strong. And I am betting 5 favorites this week. So let's dive into it. Week 6 of the 2025 NFL season. Here we go. First game Thursday night. My Philadelphia Eagles. They're on the road taking on the New York Giants. The line is 7.5. I am staying away from this game in the betting department because I do think with the Giants' defensive line of Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, and co. The way teams have been stopping Saquon Barkley and the Eagles' offense this year, I am a little worried the Giants can keep this close. But I think it's good for my Eagles. They are bouncing back in a short week and their ability to focus, the ability that they had, that they have owned the New York Giants for over the past decade. Jackson Dart now in his second home start has to take on not the New Orleans Saints defense, which he struggled with a week ago. But now that Vic Fangio has 2 weeks of tape on him, I think he'll be able to prepare. I think the Eagles defense was embarrassed the way they gave up that lead last week against the Denver Broncos. I suspect the defense to play well. I think this will be a game won within the trenches. And the Eagles' offensive line this year, whether it's been injuries, miscommunication, I don't know what the case is. They have not been as dominant as they have been in years past. If they can get back to that form, they can get Saquon Barkley involved early, they can get A.J. Brown involved early, they can get Devontae Smith back involved early. I still think Evan Patullo in this Eagles offense has a step to take. And I think they could take off. I think this could be a game where you look up and the Eagles dominate. It could also be a game where the Eagles slugfest for it. There's no doubt about it, though. My team has to win this game. I think they will do so. Denver at the Jets. At 7 points, it's a London game. And this is a weird game, right? Because Denver comes off that huge win at Philadelphia. Sean Payton is driving the bus, playing Meek Mill all over the stadium. But now they go to London and they take on a hapless Jets team that got destroyed last week by the Cowboys. They're going to essentially be on national television here. Aaron Glenn. Remember Urban Meyer, how much of a disaster he was for Jacksonville? Well, guess what? He got his first NFL win not on U.S. soil. He got his first NFL win as a head coach in London. Could the same be true for Aaron Glenn? I don't think so. Talked about this Jets defense all offseason, and I thought Justin Fields was going to do a good job not turning the football over, which he has for the most part. I thought the Jets were going to be able to grind out some wins. The defense, ever since Robert Saleh has been fired over a year ago now, has been terrible. And I said it on Tuesday. What concerned me about Aaron Glenn, now that I thought, hey, he could build this thing with the Jets, but if you look really hard at Aaron Glenn, even with all those injuries, the Lions defense still gave up 41 points to the Commanders. And I think good coordinators get the best out of Wes. And Aaron Glenn did not necessarily do that. So, would it shock me at all, though, if the New York Jets came in and they upset Denver? No, it wouldn't. London games are weird. I think you got to stay away from most London games unless you got a real clear feel on how this game's going to go. Denver could just use their offensive and defensive line and pummel the Jets. I mean, this thing could be over by halftime. I think Denver wins the game, but I think it might be closer than many people think. I would not be surprised if Denver either is a slight cover by 8 or if there's a push or the Jets cover. I think it could land in a one possession score area. First time this year, I believe. No, I took him in week 3 against the Patriots. My apologies. Remember a couple years ago when I would just take Mike Tomlin and the Steelers because every line they would give would be 2.5, and I'm like, "Ah, that's too many points." I don't care. It's 5.5 here. I think this is a mismatch. I think Pittsburgh's defensive line is going to completely take apart the Browns. Dylan Gabriel's first start on the road coming back from London. Pittsburgh now coming out their bye. Aaron Rodgers, 2 weeks to prepare for the Jim Schwartz defense, which he does have familiarity with. Obviously, being all those years when Jim Schwartz was the head coach in Detroit, when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback in Green Bay. I get it. Pittsburgh's offensive line's not great. The Browns have Myles Garrett, Mason Graham coming with that pass rush. The Browns defense has been a top 3, sometimes top 1 unit. I say sometimes because did you see the last drive of the game against the Minnesota Vikings in the NFL this year? But I think it's just a bad matchup for the Browns. I thought there was a chance they'd go 0-6 in these first 6 games. 1-5 feels like you're surviving. If they go 2-4, it feels like a miracle. Joe Flacco is now out of the building. He's on his way to Cincinnati to start for the Bengals against the Green Bay Packers potentially. It's Dylan Gabriel, it's Bailey Zappi. There's reports out there Deshaun freaking Watson could play this year. I have no idea what the Browns are doing. I am totally off the Browns bandwagon, even if they somehow, some way pull off the upset of their arch rival. They have not won a regular season game in Pittsburgh since 2003. I believe that trend continues. Give me Pittsburgh -5.5. I know all you Cleveland fans are going to be angry about that. Next game, I'm sticking in the AFC North because I like the Rams. I thought they were embarrassed Thursday night. Now, yes, the Baltimore Ravens were completely embarrassed by the Houston Texans, but the Ravens were not on national television. The Los Angeles Rams were. And you can tell how much that loss meant for Sean McVay. He owned up to the bad play call of Kyron Williams running the football up the middle when he should have at least taken the damn field goal. And this Ravens defense has already given up more points than 2000 Ravens did all season long in their route to win the Super Bowl. Cooper Rush could play better theoretically, but I think this Ravens team is pretty dead in the water right now until Lamar Jackson comes back. They have no life in them. Teams are just stacking the box. Derrick Henry is getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage the way Saquon Barkley has been for the Eagles. I think the Rams are significantly better than Baltimore, even coming back to the East Coast. I think they play angry. I think they play well. I think this is another smash spot. Such for Baltimore, because back to back home games against two pretty good opponents. You could say at least we got them at home. Not really. This next game, I think the Colts are going to win against Arizona. I don't know what's going on in Arizona. They're 2-3 and returning 2-0. They could be 0-5. They could be 5-0. That's the way their games have gone this season. Former Eagles coordinators, when they made Super Bowl 57 just 3 years ago against the Chiefs, offensive coordinator Shane Steichen, defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, going after each other. Daniel Jones played really well this year. He's only had 1 turnover. We saw what Indianapolis did to stop Vegas. I think the Colts probably cover. I'm going to stay away from this game because Arizona's been in every game. Pretty much every game they played this season has either come down to the last possession or has come down to a kick. They're just that team this year that plays in close games. And so, is there a chance that Arizona maybe covers this 6.5 and it comes down to a kick? Arizona plays very well. Maybe they even go into the halftime locker room with the lead and then they blow it again. I'm not saying that's not off the table. I want the Colts to win. Stay away from that number. Seattle at Jacksonville. Seattle just came off a devastating loss at home to Tampa Bay where they felt like they could have won the game. Jacksonville came off their biggest win as a franchise in almost a decade Monday night against the Chiefs. I think there is some pullback for the Jacksonville Jaguars here. As I think Sam Darnold and the Seahawks have been very efficient on offense. And for Jacksonville, their defense has not been getting downright stops. What it has been doing is getting turnovers, which Sam Darnold, outside of week 1 against San Francisco, has not been doing. So, it is a very high scoring game. I think Seattle, though, with the momentum Jacksonville has against Kansas City, I think they come back down to earth. I think Seattle goes into Jacksonville on the road. They pick up the victory. I think Darnold just plays a little bit better than Trevor Lawrence on Sunday. Now, I know the Dolphins lost to the Panthers, and I'm not going to bet this game because I've been burned by the Chargers the last 2 weeks. I was burned by them against the Giants. I was burned by them against the Commanders. So I'm going to stay away. Obviously, Amari and Hampton's not playing. Joe O probably not playing. Rashawn Slater's still out. We don't know about Mekhi Becton's injury. The Chargers just got completely dismantled, injury riddled mess. But how can I pick the Dolphins unless they're playing the Jets to win a football game right now? That's my logic. And I think the Chargers go in here and they put a number on the Dolphins and they still get physical with Justin Herbert and then offensive line and they, shut down Jalen Waddle because Tyreek Hill is no longer there and they play a Charger way. Mike McDaniel may be out of a job come Monday morning. I'm shocked this line isn't higher. I would think it would be New England minus five, 5.5. At 3.5, this is easy. Take the money. Take New England. They're better than the Saints. Yes, the Saints have competed. They're not on the same level as the Patriots. Drake May is a significantly better quarterback at this point in his career than Spencer Rattler, even though they ironically were taken in the same draft class. And the Saints, I said it last week, I thought against the New York Giants, that was their Super Bowl. And they overachieved. They did get the fumble return for a touchdown to really blow that game open. Good for Kellen Moore and the Saints. Vibes are high all week. They come crashing back down to earth. Mike Vrabel and the New England Patriots. Tough mindset. No nonsense. Vrabel is not going to let them overlook this Saints team, who is still in contention for one of the worst records in the league. Patriots win. Patriots cover 3.5. Same thing for Dallas. Originally, when the schedule came out, I thought this could be a sneaky game. Carolina comes in, they upset Dallas. Carolina's played Dallas tough in the past. But I think Carolina had such an exhilarating win last week against the Dolphins, coming back down 17 to nothing. And I think the Cowboys offense is explosive. And the Dolphin or the Panthers defense, I should say, gave up 30 points to Miami. I think they could give up even more to this Dallas team. And I'm not sure that Bryce Young and the Carolina Panther offense is built to come back against a Cowboy defense of Matt Eberflus, which, listen, isn't great, but it's better than what they were facing last week in Anthony Weaver's defense in the Miami Dolphins. And Dak Prescott, I know they're what, 2-2-1, but he is putting up his MVP caliber S numbers. I've been so impressed by Dak. I thought there'd be a drop off there after the leg injury at the end of last year. Brian Schottenheimer coming in as a head coach, who's been nothing but an upgrade, unbelievably over Mike McCarthy. I know this could be a Rico Dotto revenge game for the Carolina Panther against his former team in Dallas. I doubt it though. I think the Cowboys cover 3.5. Tennessee at Vegas. Vegas got embarrassed last week with the Colts. Tennessee got an emotional riding high off win. This is going to be classic example of the Raiders come back. They bounce back. They will get their second victory of the season. The question is going to be, are they going to be able to cover the 5.5 point spread? And I don't know, because Geno Smith just seems to turn the ball away. And if there's one thing this Tennessee Titans defense can do, seemingly, it is take the football away. They just cannot do anything offensively in the first half. And I don't think Pete Carroll is going to wipe what Cam Moore did to the Arizona Cardinals, did to his defense. The Tennessee Titans offensive line is a turnstile. This could be the Max Crosby breakout game Raiders fans have been waiting for this season. I think Ashton Genty has a big game. I think we could start seeing the potential that I saw in the Raiders offense early in the season when they went to New England week 1 and pounded the Patriots, what does seem like an eternity ago. Okay, Joe Flacco or not, Packers are going to win. They're going to beat Cincinnati. There is no way in hell they lose to the Bengals at home. Quote that right now. The Packers are not losing this game. At 14.5 points, though, it's too rich to take the spread. Now, is Joe Flacco going to do a better job at not turning the ball over than Jake Browning? Yes. But is Joe Flacco going to be able to throw the ball down the field? When he was with Cleveland, the first four starts of the season, check down, check down, check down. Now, is that because his top two receiving targets are Jerry Jeudy and two tight ends and a little scamper back and Dylan Sampson? Or is it because he doesn't have an arm length? We're about to find out because he has Yogabash, he has Chase Brown, and he obviously has Jamar Chase and T. Higgins on the outside with a very similar offensive line structure down there in Cincinnati. But yeah, Green Bay coming out their bye. I think I'd be nuts to take a 14.5 point spread, but Packers are going to win. Niners at Bucks. I mean, this spread's about right. If there's a side I'm picking, it's San Francisco plus 3 because Tampa always plays in these close 3 point, 4 point games. All four of their wins have either come on a walk off by them or a missed field goal in the case of Atlanta in week one. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be for the Niners. Kyle Shanahan has made chicken soup out of chicken SHIT this year at that position with Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, all the injuries they're dealing with the skill position people. But I think this is where the lack of a pass rush without Nick Bosa is going to really show up because when Baker Mayfield has had time this year, he's been deadly in the pocket. Detroit at Kansas City. I know a lot of people like Detroit plus 2.5, and I understand why you would. I think it makes sense. I'm kind of shocked a little bit that Detroit is not favored in this game, that Kansas City is favored by 2.5. It's sort of a game that I just want to watch. I don't want to bet the game. I just want to watch it. I want to see if Kansas City can bounce back. This is going to be their first or their last game, I should say, without Rashid Rice in the lineup. I think he will be a big difference maker. I'm very interested to see if the Lions can use Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery and ball control this thing and keep Kansas City on the sideline the way they did opening night in 2023. Now remember, that game, Travis Kelce did not play. Travis Kelce may not be the same player anymore, but he still has an impact on that Chiefs offense. So we'll see. The Lions got their tails whooped by Green Bay week one. Since then, they have beaten the following teams: the Bears, the Ravens, the Browns, and the Bengals. Now, Bears, Browns, Bengals all have bad defenses. Two of those teams have bad quarterbacks. Baltimore, we know they have Lamar Jackson, but we now know their defense is absolute trash cans. So this will be the biggest test the Lions face on defense since that first matchup week one by a mile. And that offense has been going crazy, but you get Jared Goff in a road environment, outdoors at night in Kansas City where there might be a little bit of a wind factor. I'm not feeling as confident for the Detroit Lions. This line screamed out to me right away. Take Buffalo minus 4.5. I know Atlanta is coming off their bye, and Michael Penix has been very good at a dome at home, and Buffalo has struggled to stop the run. And Jeff Ulbrich, being with the Jets all those years, he's got some familiarity with the Bills. So you may think, hey, trap game here for Buffalo. But I think Buffalo felt themselves embarrassed the way they performed Sunday night against New England in the whiteout. They did not perform up to their standards. I think that they will bounce back Monday night against Atlanta. And then this is just a good call. I'll be honest with you, I don't feel good about it, but it's a good call. Chicago on the road, revenge for the El Mary game. They go into Washington, D.C. Caleb Williams outplays Shaden Daniels, coming out their bye. I think Ben Johnson knows how important this game is to those guys in the locker room because of what happened a year ago. It will be talked about all week. It was the game that catapulted the Commander season and the game that ended the Bears season. And the Bears had Washington beat. And Caleb Williams was not playing very good at the time. Remember, it was a very low scoring defensive game in that week 8 of the 2024 NFL season. So I think Chicago bounces back. Not going to bet it. I think there's better bets on the board. And I know a lot of people that like Washington here. It's more of a gut pick than a for sure pick, if you will. I like Chicago on the road. So to recap, I have Philly over the Giants. I have Denver over the Jets in London, Pittsburgh over Cleveland, the Rams over Baltimore, Indy over Arizona, Seattle over Jacksonville, the Chargers over Miami, New England over New Orleans, Dallas over Carolina, Vegas over Tennessee, Green Bay over Cincinnati, which will be my survivor pick of the week, Tampa over San Francisco, Kansas City over Detroit, Buffalo over Atlanta, Chicago over Washington. With that, my five best bets for week six of the 2025 NFL season are: I like the Steelers to cover 5.5 at home against the Browns. I like the Rams to cover 7.5 on the road in Baltimore. I like New England on the road to cover 3.5 against the Saints. I like Dallas on the road to cover 3.5 against the Carolina Panthers. And I like Buffalo on the road. I'm taking four road favorites this week. Monday night in Atlanta against the Falcons. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.